All right, in today's video, we are going to look at an individual starting a smaller whole life insurance policy. We've got an individual who is 35 years old. He's interested in a whole life insurance policy for the cash value benefits, but he's looking to fund a policy with a maximum of $5,000 per year. So notice in blue here, we've got fund up to $5,000 per year. Why we have that, why we have the 5,000 written in that specific way is because he does want the ability to fund a whole life insurance policy with $5,000 per year. He's interested in a policy for the cash value benefits, safe, liquid, tax-free area to position money. However, he does not want to be locked into $5,000 per year. Seeing a bill for $5,000 every year just causes stress. So he doesn't want that right now. So what we'll do is set the policy up with a minimum of about $700 per year. And he has the ability to add up to $5,000 per year. We'll go through exactly how he can get that money in. We're going to look at a couple examples here. So with his whole life insurance policy, first, let's go through exactly how we would set it up in a case like this. So with a life insurance policy, your money can go toward one of two primary areas. We've got the premium piece, and then we've got our PUA rider. PUA stands for Paid Up Additions Rider. I like to refer to this as a cash dump-in. Add those two numbers together, we've got the total funding of $5,000. Remember, up to $5,000 per year. And then we also have our MEC limit. MEC stands for Modified Endowment Contract. We don't want our policy to become a MEC, otherwise we'll have to deal with potential taxes on the cash value. So we set our MEC limit at just over $5,000. This way he can fund up to $5,000 per year and still reap the tax benefits that come with the cash value of a whole life insurance policy. So with these two areas, here's how they work. Premium dollars, that's $700. The actual premium is a little bit less. I'm going to show you the exact number in a minute. But premium dollars do not show up in cash value in the first year. The main reason why is because they purchase us a large death benefit up front. Keep in mind, we've got first year here. The first year, the premium piece does not show up in cash value. Beginning the second year, you will see your premium payments begin to come back to cash value. So even though we have the word premium here, you will see this build equity or cash value for you that compounds and you have access to it. The next, we've got our Paid Up Additions rider. How does this work? Well, PUA payments show up in cash value in the first year. Now you'll see in year one, typically between 90 and 95% of whatever your PUA payment is show up in cash value. You won't see 100% of it because there are fees that come with PUA riders. However, you do see the majority that show up in cash value right away. That begins to earn dividends and interest. This is what accelerates the cash value growth of a whole life insurance policy. Why those fees are assessed by the life insurance company is because those PUA payments do purchase us additional life insurance. So from the insurance company's perspective, they're saying we're going to assess a fee because you are getting more life insurance when you make these PUA payments. So that's how the insurance company is viewing that. Now, here, very important, PUA payments are not required. I want to emphasize this because remember, he wants to be able to fund up to $5,000 per year. But again, he does not want to be locked into it. That flexibility is very important to him. So he's not required to add the money into PUAs. How we would set up a policy exactly like this is in a manner where he is only billed for this every single year, $700, and then he can add the rest of the funds at his discretion. And he can add zero into PUAs. He could add another $300. It could be another $3,000, anywhere up to $5,000 per year. So he's got that flexibility where he can commit to a small amount. It does not feel like a burden to him and still add up to a total of $5,000 per year. Okay, so if this is me, what would help me make a decision whether or not to move forward is to see, okay, what does this policy look like if I fund it how I'd like to, aggressively, but also, what should I be aware of? What questions should I be asking? Here's the question I would ask. What would my policy look like if I only fund the minimum? What if I only add some money here and there? That's what we're going to look at right now. So here are the three options we'll look at. A, what does the policy look like if I only pay the minimum premium? B, what does it look like if I add extra money when I can? Extra money would be through that paid up additions rider, that PUA rider. And then C, what if I aggressively fund the policy? And what if I stop at age 40? So we're going to fund it for 6 years in this example, starting at 35. So we've got 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, and 40. So he'll fund through age 40 in that example, but then stop altogether. Let's have some fun. So first we'll begin with an illustration. So when you're considering a whole life insurance policy, you will be presented with an illustration, which will give you a breakdown of where your money is going. You'll also see the cash value figures and death benefit figures and what they're projected to grow to based on the insurance company's dividend rate, and you can request the guaranteed values as well. So here's what I want to hit on here. We're going to look at a simplified version of this in just a couple minutes, but here's the net amount we're funding every year. So we said the minimum was what? $700. Here we've got $705. I just rounded here to $700 on the whiteboard. The true minimum is $705 per year. Then we've got our cash value column and also our death benefit column. Okay. So the first year he pays $705 and his cash value is $215. The minimum premium is not showing up in cash value. Of that $705, here's the true minimum premium, a little bit more than $450. We do have a term rider as well. Add those two together. The minimum insurance expenses, if we want to call it that, the premium and term cost, is about $500 per year. Why we have $705 is because some insurance companies, like this one, Guardian, requires that we have a minimum PUA payment of $250 per year. If we pay that, then they allow us to add additional funds into PUAs at our discretion. So it's a small but important rule that exists with this particular insurance company. All insurance companies have different rules when it comes to PUAs. Very important to be aware of that. The PUA, by the way, covers the cost of that term. So the true minimum is right here. That's where the 705 comes from. But breakdown on where our money is going when we look at this illustration, and we've got the premium being paid indefinitely. Or we stop at age 64 actually. So let's do this. Let's look at it on Excel. We're going to look at all years in a minute, but we'll start with just looking at the first 15 years here. This way we don't have a huge chart here that's just going down forever. So what we've got, the yearly minimum, and this is what he's billed for every year. So every year he gets a bill for $705. If he'd like, he can divide that by 12 months. And he can switch back and forth between paying it monthly and yearly as time passes. So from a cash flow perspective, that might make it even more flexible for him. So he's got the 705, nothing going into additional PUAs. So the net amount he's funding every year is exactly what we looked at on that illustration. This is that illustration just on Excel. So what do we see here? First year, I've got $215 available in cash value, and my death benefit is $125,000. Okay. Next year, I pay in $705. Happens to the cash value. Look at that. I get the bulk of my payment back. I'm at $863. Remember, the first year is the worst year where I see the smallest percentage of my premium payment actually come back to cash value for me. Beginning the second year, more and more comes back to work for me. The policy is also beginning to earn dividends and interest, so it gets better and better from that point forward. Now, when I look at this column here, total funding. And then look at this column, cash value. That's your money column. When do you get your money back if you pay the minimum only? I'm 10 years in right now. Do you have your money back? No. 16 years in. Do you have your money back? No. You'll see when you get your money back shortly when we look at the following years, but a whole life insurance policy where I am paying the minimum premium only, where cash value is my goal, is typically a great example of what not to do. Meaning, if you're interested in a whole life insurance policy and you said, hey, I just want to know what the absolute minimum premium is, and that's all I want to pay, you could take out a whole life insurance policy like that. You'll have life insurance and such. But again, if the cash value is your goal, most people that work with us want to make sure that their whole life insurance policies are set up right. They want maximum cash value. They want to know how to use it. This would not be the plan. However, this might be the setup. So I might start with a policy like this because I'm only committing to this guy. And then at my discretion, I can add more money. Do you remember what option 2 was, or option B? Adding extra money when I can. So what's it look like if I throw more money into the policy? Here's the exact same policy. We've got the illustration here too, but we're just going to look at it on Excel. Here, we are starting with a lump sum of money. So we've got our yearly minimum, but we'll assume he says, you know what? I've got cash on hand, money in the bank. If I start out with a $5K lump sum immediately, so my net out of pocket is $5K, which covers my minimum, everything else goes into PUAs. What happens to my policy? Well, here it's set up where the death benefit is still $125. Now, we did mention that when you add PUAs, it increases your death benefit. That is happening. It's hard to see in the illustration because what happens, that $125 is made up of a whole life policy, which is about $25K to start, then a term rider, which is about $100K to start. And what happens is as you add money to the policy, the whole life goes up, the term comes down, but it's always set to keep you at $125 until the term expires altogether. So one goes up, the other goes down, kind of like a seesaw. So I say that just to illustrate the fact that your whole life death benefit is increasing when you add money to PUAs. I hope that made sense. But back to the main point. So I start out with a $5K lump sum. Then the next 2 years, I pay just the minimum. Nothing extra in PUAs when I look at it. Year 4, my minimum, plus another $795, where we came up with that number, gets a net of $1,500 into the policy. Then I pay just the minimum again. Look at this. So did you add a lot of extra money in this example? Not a whole lot. The bulk of the extra payments were all done with the lump sum up front. And look at this. Your total funding by year 5 is $86.15, and there's your cash value, $8,400 and change. You are just about there. The next year, you add a total of $3,000, so you're stuffing more into your PUA rider. What happens? Well, now you've got more in cash value than what you paid into the policy. Adding money here accelerates the cash value growth of the policy. So now he's in his 40s, he's earning more, he's throwing more into the policy, $3,000, $3,000, $5,000, $5,000, then 2 for a couple of years, and then he pays just $1K per year. You'll see it until age 65. But much stronger cash value. You even see the death benefit start to increase here. So that's adding money when I can. What's it look like if I just aggressively fund it? If he said, okay, I see these options, but I am really into the idea, Steve, of just being able to front load this policy and then be done with it. If I want to keep adding money or keep on adding the minimum, That's great and all, because I can keep doing that, but can I just aggressively fund it and let it grow and be done by the time I'm 40? The answer is yes. A lot of people are into this. We often demonstrate this with individuals that have large amounts of money in cash and they're moving it over to a policy. It's the same thing here, but with $5K per year. So minimum, $705. PUA rider, just under $4,300. Total, $5K per year. Look what happens when you do this. When's your break-even point? Year 4 in this example. In this example, we've got our minimum premium at what? About $450. If we go back to that illustration, you're paying in how much? $5,000. You've got your premium, and you're adding about 10x that every year into PUAs. We're maximizing the cash value year in and year out. This is a 10/90 split. Minimize the insurance expenses in order to maximize the cash value. You'll see that happen every single time. So we're cash positive by year 4. By age 40, we don't pay anything at all into the policy anymore. At year 8, we elect to drop the death benefit. This is optional. We don't have to do it. It's a nice move to make when we want to maximize the cash value growth when we're not paying anything. So we're not paying the premium or anything in this example, and we're just letting it grow over time. As far as how much it grows to, here we go. Pretty cool, right? Keep in mind, he's paid a total of $30,000 into this policy, and then nothing thereafter, and just lets it continue to grow. The option that will have the most money long-term will be the option in the middle because he's paid the most into that policy. The minimum example, we talked about the break-even point. There you go. Between years 19 and 20, that's a long time. Again, funding just the minimum. Yes, you have life insurance, which if that's your goal, it might be worth considering. However, if cash value is your goal, oh yeah, we want something like what we see with one of the options to the right. So this displays an individual starting a policy where he wants to fund a maximum of $5K per year. I like these types of case studies because it really demonstrates the fact that anyone can do this. We don't have to have a policy where we're funding $50,000 per year, because the same thing would apply where the minimum, we would just add a 0 to that, be a little bit less actually, but we can commit to the minimum and add up to $50K per year. The same is true if it's $500,000 per year. Sometimes when you get to larger amounts, particularly 7 figures, other products become available, which are products that we would typically use with corporations. That's a different animal in itself. But my point is, the same principles apply when we are aiming to optimize the cash value and the flexibility of a life insurance policy. I always like to emphasize that because are we billed for the total amount of $5K in this example? No, we're not. A lot of times we hear the word insurance and we think premium bill. I'm locked into the same dollar amount every year, every month, which is not the case at all. And this doesn't look at using the policy at all. If we wanted to use it to buy a car, perhaps make a real estate investment, or use it for whatever we'd like. With that said, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let us know if you did. And as always, I hope this helps. Thanks so much. Hey guys, Steve here with IBC Global. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you're interested in a whole life insurance policy and you'd like to work with our company in setting it up, please visit our website, ibcglobalinc.com. We would love to work with you. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And as always, I hope this helps.